الحمد لله رب العالمين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وأزواجه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وبعد. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are studying the financial or the rules of the financial transactions in Islam. And we mentioned earlier that there is no subject / law in Islam more restricted and more regulated than the law of the financial transactions. And also we mentioned that because money is the blood of this life. Money is in everything. If we want to build a masjid, we need money. If we want to print Quran, we need money. If we want to marry and have children, we need money. If we want to have these classes, we need money. We need the phone, we need the communication, we need the internet, and so on. So money is good, not bad. It is, the question is, how do we earn it? And what do we do with it? And if we pay or not the dues of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this money. And last time we mentioned that also for any trade, any exchange, the commodity, the product, the merchandise, the goods and or the service must be halal. Must be a halal substance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed for trade. Allowed for trade. Because we are not just eating, talking about eating or drinking, but it has to be allowed also for trade. And we mentioned that the contract itself, the way of the exchange, and how the commodity, the merchandise, and or the service / rental / employment, how it is exchanged. The contract, the medium of exchange also must be halal. And we discussed last week that every trade, every business, every employment, every renting must be through mutual consent. Both parties must be satisfied with that. They agree to it. Nobody forced them in any way, shape, or form, as far as we know. And second requirement that we are going to discuss today about the contract, which is the most important and the most dominant these days, and that is riba. Riba is usury, is interest, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala condemned it and forbade it in the strongest forms that can be emphasized. And inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we are going to discuss all these things inshallah. But most important that we have to know that riba is not just one part. Riba, as the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, hadith Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu, says, الربا 73 بابا. Riba, usury, interest, or the laws of riba applies to 70 some types, 70 some branches, to the point Ibn Abbas radiyallahu anhu used to say, اعلم أن أبواب الربا أكثر من أبواب الطلاق. You should know that the branches or the gates of riba are more than the branches of divorce, which is very serious, and we'll discuss that. First, and inshallah, all these things. That's why riba, before we go further, all of us know most important. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, لعن الله آكل الربا ومؤكله في رواية أخرى وموكله وشاهديه وكاتبه وقالهم سواء. Any person who is involved willingly and knowingly in usury is mal'oon, is cursed, is ejected from the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who consume it, the one who pay it, the one who feed it, the one who witness the riba, the contract of the riba, yeah, or the two witnesses of the contract of the riba, the witness of the contract of the riba, and the one who document it, the one who write it down. And the hadith says, وَهُمْ سَوَاء, and they are all those four people, the taker, the giver, the witness, the writer, all are equal in sin. And the sin is huge. That's why the hadith, when he mentioned the major sins, the 7 major sins, mentioned also among them what is consuming riba. So nobody can be employed in any way, shape, or form, with payment, with no payment, in any transaction that involves interest, involve usury, and will explain all these things. Any question about that? Any question so far?
As far as the 73 categories are concerned, have we categorized those 73, or have scholars categorized those 73 or over 73 categories?
As far as I know, no, they did not. But I want to give you an example. The sale of debt. One thing that is extremely common nowadays all over the world, that the debt is sold back. Nobody keeps hold of the debt, regardless if it's mortgage, especially it's mortgage and these things. So the debt is sold, or the collection of the debt, everything, the outstanding debt, the collection companies, they buy it, and insurance companies, they buy the debt. Okay, for this, the sale and the purchase of promissory notes is forbidden in the Islamic law of a trade. Promissory note is usury. Usury is lending of money at interest. Promissory notes is a signed agreement promising payment of sum of money on demand or at a specific time. Anyway, the hadith that I would like to share with you, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أنه دخل على مروان وهو على المدينة. Abu Huraira رضي الله عنه came to Marwan while he was a governor of Al-Medina. Abu Huraira was a governor of Al-Medina during the era of Marwan, one of Bani Umayyah. وكان مروان قد أحل بيع السكوك بيع السكوك التي بالجار قبل أن تستوفى. That Marwan allowed the sale of the sukuk, the sale of promissory notes, before it is collected, because before it is received. And he said to him, قد أحللت بيع السكوك قبل أن تستوفى أحللت الربا. He said, you have allowed the sale of the promissory notes. That means you allowed riba. You allowed usury. أشهد لسمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول من ابتاع طعاما فلا يبعه حتى يستوفيه فرد مروان ذلك البيع. I testify before Allah Azza wa Jal that I heard Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam saying, anyone who bought food must not resell it until after it is received. Until it is received. That's why بيع الغرر, the sale of the uncertain sale, many of its branches are riba. Are riba. Someone would say, how, and the question to all of you, how the sale of debt is riba?
Because it involves no commodity, I guess.
Yeah, it is just a debt.
Yeah. It's money on money.
No, there is no money actually. The possibility of money is still not in existence.
But there's no commodity.
But exactly. It is. We are not saying that, but this is, you are giving me a broad answer, which then after that, let me finish Marwan. Then after he heard this from Abu Huraira, he forbade this type of transaction. The narration of Imam Muslim rahmatullah alayhi, the one I was reading, is mustakhraj ala Sahih Muslim. Marwan, Abu Huraira said to Marwan, you have allowed the sale of riba or the trade in riba. Marwan said, I have not. Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu said, what? Well, أحللت بيع السكاك. You allowed the sale of the promissory notes. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi wa sallam has forbidden the sale of, pay attention, why the one who is saying that money for money, pay attention, because the hadith is not just limited to that. He said, you have allowed the sale of food before it is what it is received. Then Marwan got up and he gave a public speech and he forbade the sale of the food. How is that? At that time, the government, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala take us back, used to take care of the citizens. And basically every citizen of every Muslim, they used to receive, which is, we call it the welfare benefits. And among these welfare benefits, they used to receive the food stamps, what they are known now as food stamps, okay, which is called food assistance. So they will be given a note that you will get such and such amount of food of this type, such and such amount of food of this type. So the people, Marwan allowed them to go and sell it. He said, okay, I have this certificate. I'm receiving 2 bushels of rice. You want to buy it? Okay. But it is not in his position. He did not receive it. He did not know if he's going to receive it. He's not going to, if it's going to happen or not happen. He doesn't know exactly what the future is holding. So Marwan got up and forbade the people. And he said what? The sub-narrator said, I was there and I looked and I saw the guards taking these promissory notes from the hands of the people. So how it's considered riba? Anybody wants to give it a shot before I speak? It's simple question, simple answer, direct question, direct answer. There's no trick. Okay. When a person buys a promissory note, the promissory note is 1,000. How much he pays for it?
1,000.
So where is the money? How he's going to make money?
Could you explain that question, Sheikh? I didn't understand.
Okay, a promissory note, I owe you $1,000. A third person comes
Yeah.
to you and said, well, I'll take it off your hand.
Yeah.
How much he will pay you? More or less?
Pay you less. I'll pay you less so I can sell it for.
Yeah, a little less or more less? Much
More
less?
Much less, yeah, to make profit, yeah.
Much less. Okay, much less. So now, when your question, money for money, is there, okay, but he's going to be what? Much less than that. Plus, the other thing, form of riba, when he buys this note from you, is it secured? Is he going to get his money for sure? The person who buys the promissory note?
Not necessarily, no.
Necessarily. Okay, that's why these collection companies are nasty. They keep nagging you and calling you and doing this and that. The bottom line is general. Okay, riba, when we say 70 some branches, the application of riba, as you said, the hadith did not say riba, but the prohibition, but the application of riba, so much. Another one, we read in Sahih al-Bukhari that najash is riba.
Sheikh, before we move to the second one, please. Promissory note is that in our scenario, I went to buy something and they send me a bill later on. So let's say they send me $1,000 bill and I didn't pay them. So they gave it to a collection company that they deal with. They came to them and said, okay, we will buy this from you for $500. They nagged me for $1,000 to be paid. So they made $500 if I pay them $1,000. Now, promissory note in this would be that transaction of me buying or this third party buying that loan for $1,000. That's how it would be called, the promissory note?
Yeah, this is one of the application. Promissory notes are many.
Yeah.
There are huge, plenty types, but this is one of them, yes.
Okay, so how in the rice example, how is this a promissory note? So I come into the government, I say, okay, give me this note, and I then go to the shop, I give them the promissory note, take my rice, and the government pays them.
Okay.
Something like that. Is
Okay.
that how it works?
I'm going to, yeah, same thing. Now, you remember Zakat al-Fitr?
No.
When I do not know if you saw it, maybe you are young people, you do not see it. When people used to take the rice and take the wheat and take this, what they used to do with it?
They would sell it, perhaps.
And when they sell it at market value?
No, they'll probably sell it cheaper, probably, just so that they can get it out.
How much cheaper?
I'm guessing quite a bit cheaper, I would think.
Quite a bit cheaper.
Yeah.
This is, they are allowed to do as they wish because they already received it. But now, the promissory note, it is the rice or the wheat or whatever food, they did not receive it. They have just what the receipt for it, the invoice.
Yeah.
Get it?
So the government has already given the money to the shop, or they're saying so the steps are that government has given money to 5 shops and they give you a promissory note that you take to the shop and get whatever rice you want.
No.
Is that how it works?
No,
Okay.
no. The example we gave, the government gave you a receipt saying on such and such date, come and pick 2 bushels of rice.
No. Like,
this person, Ahmad Abdullah, I will go to Ghassan al-Barqawi. He said, look, I have this receipt. This is my name. This is my ID. I'm going to sell to you this promissory note. How much you will pay me for these 2 bushels? I said, I'll give you $50.
no.
I said,
Like,
okay, I'll take the receipt from you. And on the 2nd of January, I will go stop in line. And when my turn comes, I present it to the government and I receive the merchandise. Get it?
no.
Get it?
No,
So the government can change the law tomorrow, or there will be no food, or it will be against the law. Anything can happen, correct?
No.
Yeah. So this is what we're talking about.
Good. No.
So the application itself, it implies many things, as inshallah when we study in the detail, we're going to see it, inshallah. Good.
Sheikh, so I had a question. So if what I understand is the issue is because something, in this case, the food stamps were sold or given by the government and they were resold by the individual, because there's no exchange of product, it's not available, and therefore it is riba. Is that correct?
It is considered form
riba.
of riba.
Form of riba. Okay.
Form. We always use the form of riba.
Form of riba. Okay.
In the people's head, unless it says interest, it is not riba.
I was asking about drop shipping. Would that be considered riba as well? I mean, a form of riba?
What is drop shipping?
It's either affiliate marketing and drop shipping is when you sell somebody else's product. And for example, like if you're online and you find a product that you want to sell, you market that product, and then that company sells it for you, and you commission off of it. And then drop shipping is when you purchase a product from like China, or you don't purchase it, you market that product from China, and you don't own that product, or you don't have it in your possession, but you sell it.
No, it is not. It is not riba.
It's not, okay.
Because we have something. We have something called bay'u salam, bay'u salaf.
Okay.
Bay'u salam, bay'u salaf. Bay'u salam, bay'u salaf, which is what? To pay full price in advance for a later delivery. And in Sahih Bukhari, we read that those people, they did not have the product at that time. So here you are paying the full price in advance. A car to be delivered, you have the full description, the full measurements, the full disclosure, the full everything is known, and the delivery date is known, and so on and so forth, and you pay in advance. Like example, when I click to buy something from Amazon, okay, the person who I'm buying from him, I pay him in advance the full price, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I do not pay him $10 now and $10 next month, and so on and so forth. We are paying him in advance, the full price in advance, for a purchase to be what? Delivered later. In the Sharia, it does not require us to know where he got it from, or how he got it, as long as the description are very well known, or the amount is very well known, or the volume is very well known, or the model is very well known, and the date of delivery is very well known. So this is fine. And people are two types of this. Either they are themselves involved in the sale, or they are what? Working for somebody for this sale. That means I am advertising to sell this commodity, but I'm not working for myself. That if I sell it for X merchant, X factory, the X factory will give me a commission, will give me a salary, will give me any compensation. So this is not considered riba. However, the contract itself has to be examined to see if there are any restrictions.
Jazakallah khair.
Hayyakumullah. Yes, question. Somebody had another question.
So just follow up on the question that the brother raised. For drop shipping, if the person is the middleman, for example, I am selling the product on Amazon and I am advertising it, it is my company, let's say, and if the sale comes in, okay, I've committed the sale, but I contact a person in China to ship the product and they're a separate company. So this, what you told us, still applies the same way. This is all permissible, right?
Very permissible. As long as the payment is in full, you are not buying on a credit.
Yeah. Okay.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
If in a contract, let's say like the brother mentioned, I mean, if we are negotiating a product with a company in China, can I put in the contract that they have to give a price guarantee for next 2 years? They cannot increase the price. How will that be considered from a Sharia perspective?
Guarantee what? Are you negotiating a deal, or you are negotiating what?
No, I am telling the supplier that the price, he has to maintain the price $10 for the next 2 years. He cannot increase the price. Can I put that in the contract?
Okay, let me hear you. You are saying that you want to buy from China vacuum cleaners. Good. And you are going to enter with them to buy vacuum cleaners for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, correct?
Yes.
Correct. Okay. And you negotiated a deal that it is going to be $25 per vacuum cleaner.
Yes.
And you are telling them, I will buy it from you next year and the year after if you agree to sell it to me for $25 each. And the contract is what else in the contract?
No, I'm saying for future there could be.
I know. What else in the contract?
So sorry, I didn't get your question, sir.
Yeah. Now the contract here. Let's assume that tomorrow he changed his mind. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example that happened with me. Let's assume that he changed his mind. What will happen?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. I mean, would that cancel the contract? I mean, would that nullify the contract? The contract is still in place.
No, because so far, for a contract to be a contract, it has to be a condition and a promise, correct?
Yes.
Every contract under the sun has a condition and a promise, correct? Now they agreed to you to sell you for the next 2 years each vacuum cleaner for $25. Assume that they agreed, you signed everything, and tomorrow you receive the call saying we are not able to do that. Then what will happen?
They will have to they have to agree to the contract because they signed it.
They did. Otherwise, what will happen?
Otherwise, it will go to the court. I mean, that's what I can see, because they are violating the terms of the contract.
No, see, I'm telling you what is in the contract. I have to know what is in the contract.
Okay, I got your point. Basically, you are asking me what is the terms of violation, right? What that I've put in the contract.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. If the terms of violation, they will be liable for the liable, the contract will be invalid, Islamically invalid, because you did not pay for the products. If they already paid for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years in advance, then you can have all the Islamic legal consequences that follows. Got it? But if the deal, they change their mind, there is nothing you can do about it. It is their privilege. But if the contract says, I will sell it to you $25 for the next 2 years, 3 years, the delivery will be, and you paid in advance for whatever amounts that you're going to buy, then the problem will be on them, not on you. Got it, Habibi? Otherwise, the contract will be invalid, Islamically.
Okay, so
got it, Habibi? Are you sure you got it?
Yes, alhamdulillah.
That's why, ya akhwa, pay attention. unless we read, because you know the American saying, the devil is in the details. These contracts, you are not surprised that it is so long and in fine print and whatsoever. I'm going to give you an example. I used to trade, this is a long time ago, in this headpieces for women, long headpieces. And we went to one country there and we had an agreement with a factory. Okay. And the factory, the first shipment, we paid in advance and we got it. There was no anything that they can do. The second shipment, okay, we agreed on a price. The second shipment, I received a call from my agent there, and he said they are not going to deliver the second shipment. I said, why? He said that they want more. At that time, it was 0.75 Jordanian dinar, which is about $1 a piece. Okay, a little bit over $1. So they wanted to make it into a Jordanian dinar instead of $1. And when you are buying a volume, many of them, this is a huge difference. And he said, well, if you do not agree into this amount, they are not going to deliver it, and the payment has to be in advance. And there is nothing I can do about it because there was no payment in advance. So we agreed to pay them in advance the difference so they can send us the next shipment. Get Habibi? You understood the example?
Yes.
Allah Akbar. Yes. Anyone else?
Sheikh, will this apply also for like services? Like for example, let's say I have a company that does installing radios across the US, and I fix my pricing. I deal with another customer who says, okay, install for me these radios, and then I'm going to pay you $10,000 per location. That's it for the next 2 years. It's a contract. That means I'm locking myself into that price. And let's in the future, I need to change it. Will this also apply in that scenario? That it's invalid then, this type of contract?
No, the contract is not invalid. It is the contract is very fine. But now if they change their mind, then what?
Then it's a breach of the contract.
The breach of the contract here, since you did not pay them in advance, you cannot do anything Islamically.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
You can lock with them as much as you wish. Yeah. That's why penalty conditions in the Sharia is not allowed. And that's why I wrote a huge book about it.
If there are penalties associated with the contract, whereby there's some monetary or non-monetary, then that's not valid. Then no penalties are valid at all, of any type.
Exactly. True. Correct.
Coming back to our example in where the government is giving those promissory notes, the food stamps to the citizens, if the government was actually selling them, let's say a bag of rice is $10, the government says, I'll give you this for $2, and here's the note, but they haven't actually received the product. This is still a form of riba.
Okay, let me see what you are saying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The government is selling rice to the citizens, and each bushel is $2.
No, the government is selling the promissory note to the citizens for $2 for a bag of rice. However, the market rate is $10, but the promissory note says, when we have the rice, we will give you these $10 worth of rice.
Okay. This is Habibi again to Bay'us Salam. Bay'us Salam or Bay'us Salaf. Salam, Taslim. Like when we shake hands, Salaam alaikum, taslim. Salaf is to advance. Okay, that's why Salafiyin. What does it mean, a Salafi? The one who follows those who came before. Correct? Bay'us Salam is exactly like this. A person who is selling wheat, like at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He comes to me or I go to him and say, okay, I need 1 million bushels of wheat. 1 million bushels of wheat cost me $2 million. Now the wheat, we know the type, we know the amount, we know all the measurements, and we agree on a delivery date. So I want to buy from you 1 million bushels of rice or wheat. The cost is 2 million. As long as the description and the amount is very well known and the type very well known and the delivery date is very well known and the payment is in advance, this is allowed. Got it? Same thing with the government. The government doesn't mean whether they're going to be me to sell it to me with more or less, as long as the customer is paying in advance for a later delivery, that is fine. Whether it's the government or anyone else. You get your answer?
Yes.
Good.
نعم شيخ جزاك الله خير.
جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم.